Hey everyone, it's Scrappy Chicky Laura and I've got another installment, and this one is a mixed media madness. So, it is a long video because there's a million techniques that I have used with these artist inks that we got in the December Kitaholic Kit, which are amazing products. So I've got the three colours. There's a bluey green, a blue one and a green one, which are a lovely little combination, and they're going to go really well together and end up in a lovely end product. So I'm just opening them and putting to the left there. Be careful because they're like liquid, so you don't want to spill them, that's for sure. And as I was doing that, I realized there was ink in the lids and I just flicked it on. I did, you might have seen, I did use my spray mist to add water on the canvas at the beginning because I figured I'd wet it and be able to move the colour around, which works a little but not as well as if I'd have gessoed the canvas, which it's something I don't really bother with. I do have gesso, but I've never liked it the way I've used it, and I just have given up on it. So if you know some really good ways to use gesso, let me know, because at the moment it's something that I don't use. Anyway, as you can see, using the water over top of the eyedropper colour means that it is still moving the way I wanted it to move. Just using those eyedroppers to drop colour on it, spray it with the water, and then I'm just tilting the canvas to move the colour around. Pretty much all I want to do at this stage is add colour to the canvas, adding, the first layer to the background. The colours all blend together, that's fine, because they're going to be a nice three colours that go together on the colour wheel, which means they will blend in nicely together. So just making a mess, not really making a mess. I'm enjoying the process. I don't care if I get my fingers get dirty with colour. It just means I've had a lot of fun. I just get in and I just create, and pretty much these were the first time I'd seen these in real life. I'd seen them obviously in the shop and whatnot, but these are the first play I had with them, so I just wanted to get in and create. I had this canvas taking up space in my scrap area in the lounge room, and I thought, what would not be, oh my goodness, I can't even talk to you guys, I'm that excited about what I created. I thought this would be the perfect thing. It's a large product that I could get my hands dirty with and get creating and do a different million things. So using my heat gun, and I kept it in so that you could see the colour running as I moved it around with the heat gun. So it's sort of like, and you could, actually, this is a process that I didn't do, but you could use. You know when you're at school and you used to use a straw to blow the paint around? That would look really cool on this. So, someone do that and show us in the members forum, because that would look really cool with these artist inks. So just drying it up, and I do have some splatters there on the top of my desk that I have made when I moved it around, but that's okay because I'm using a doily to mop it up, adding that colour to the doily, which means that I don't have to add more ink to the doily or the top to add it, and it will just blend in nicely. Pushing it on with my finger so that the wetness of the canvas will blend in. And so out comes the eyedroppers again because it needs more colour. And originally I did use 3 eyedroppers, one for each colour, and then towards the end I just end up using just the one, and I squirt out lots of the colour, get some more, sometimes blend a bit of the colour. Like I said, these colours work so nicely together that you can take those liberties and enjoy it. So some of that dark blue, using it to splatter on, because you don't always have to just drip it on, you can splatter it. And here I am, I'm going to close the inks up because I think I'm done. But obviously I'm not, because look how long the video is and we're only 4 minutes in. So I don't know why I put the lids on. I think partly I was a bit worried that I was going to knock them over, and this took me, there's about an hour and a half, a bit over an hour and a half of footage over a couple of days, and I did not spill them. It was amazing, other than what spilled over top of the canvas from moving around. But I literally thought I was going to knock over an ink and it was going to go over everything. But I was careful. So please be careful with yours, because I don't want your ink to be all over your lovely scrapbooking products or your things that you have made. So just using my heat gun then again. But as you can see, it's not entirely dry because I'm putting on some tissue paper on the wet spots. Just adding some texture to the background. Because I'm using my fingers here to use the wetness of the canvas, adding some more wetness, it means that I'm blending it in, but also that it makes it a bit rougher. So there's bubbles in it, it rips a little, it rolls when I put it down the bottom, but that I leave in because it's going to be some awesome texture that's going to add to the whole, the whole background's going to look better for it. So just squishing it in. That one you can see was really wrinkly. And I actually leave this one to dry, this section, and come back the next day or a couple of days later maybe. But what actually happened was, because I just wet it and used the colour ink and the wet water to stick the tissue paper down, it actually doesn't stick properly. So if you want to recreate the same thing, you can do that. And then it was peeling, which was leaving a lovely colour because the colour had soaked into the tissue paper. So the canvas looked like, you know how when you drop those water drops on, which I do, drop the water drops on and put the paper towel down and it picks up the colour? It was doing that. But instead I ended up leaving it on there and using the gel medium that I've got to stick them down. So now I'm just using the lid again because I wanted some big splatters. But as you can see, I spilt it a bit, but that's okay. That's a mistake, but that's okay because that actually makes part of the background look really great, and that's what was just meant to happen, obviously. But it didn't deter me because I get the next colour out and I use the lid again to put on some splatters. Look how messy my hand is, but that's okay. It will wash off after a couple of days. It is a-okay. Just gives me something to talk to other people about. So just using the eyedroppers in my water bottle, because I didn't get a bottle of water, a cup of water before, and I'm just putting some water on and I'm going to mop it up with the paper towel. That will take off some of the colours, so like a water resist, and leaving some lovely water, lighter colour spots on the background as well, as you can see. Drying a bit off because I want some of that colour to stay rather than leave. And I've just moved it to the left here when I've come back. And I'm going to use my modelling paste. So this is just the modelling paste that I got from the $2 shop, the dollar shop, that kind of thing here in Australia. And I'm just going to add some colour to it. Once again, there's colour in the lid. I'm forever putting the lid, making sure there's no colour on the lid that's going to waste. It's going on the canvas, nowhere else. On the canvas for sure. So adding some colour in actually ends up needing some more, so I drop some more in there, but pretty much just using my spatula to mix the colour in. Didn't water it down, which I actually thought it might have, but the good thing was that they're lovely colour to the ink, so they're quite strong in the fact that I didn't need copious amounts of it. When I add spray mist to modelling paste, it sometimes mostly needs a lot of it to make a colour, and that's when it waters it down. So using the lovely Katie Mixed Media stencil that we got in the Mixed Media kit this December, kids, and just putting that modelling paste through it in a couple of spots. I don't always fill up a stencil when I'm putting it on a page. I don't want it to look too blocky. I want it to make it look like I've randomly placed it there. So as you can see, I've gone to the top, most of the middle, and then gone to the other left. So sort of like a diagonal, rather than filling the whole thing up. So that blends in lovely because I've used the colour from the artist ink, and that goes lovely together, but is another shade of the colour because it's lighter. So I didn't really want to add too much more in terms of the stencil at this time, although I will put one here. But then I figured I would put on just some dabs with the spatula of that modelling paste, just to blend it in throughout the whole thing. Oh, and I'll do another one over here apparently. Here I was saying I didn't want to do any more. Apparently that was not the case at all. So that, as you can see, is coming together. It makes it look like it's cohesive, and I'm just going to get out my art journal because you can see there is a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's enough of the modelling paste back left there. So through the stencil again, just doing, that inky quill trick where she does the two things for the mess of one thing, and clean up that stencil just one time, but I've used it twice on two different projects and sort of cheated the system a little, which is nice. So I do the same thing here. I put it through the stencil, and then rather than going over top of the stencil and risk squashing the stuff I already put, I smushed it on here with the spatula, and that way it covers enough of the page and makes it look like it's a cohesive layer. So I went away and washed that, because you have to make sure that you wash your stencils and your spatula, especially if you're using modelling paint. And here I am, it's dried now, well, mostly dried, and I'm going to use stuff from the December kit, other stuff that we got. So I get all 4 kits, so I have the main, the embellishment, the Project Life, and the mixed media kit. I also get the add-on paper kit because I make a lot of goodies, so I want to make sure I have lots of paper, and I don't always have to choose that way if I get the extras. But look at this adorable washi. It's lovely and thick, but also it's white, and it's designed to be coloured. But because I wanted to use watercolours on it, I wanted to protect it, so I'm using this gel medium again to put it on. And I don't know if you noticed, but I think it should be able to show up on the video. I do the gel medium here on just some random places as well. Do I do it now or maybe a little bit later? And that way it just seals the colour in, but also makes it a bit brighter, and because it's gloss gel medium, so it makes it that glossiness going on. So adding some stickers on, and I will go over with, anytime I'm going over a sticker or anything with the paintbrush, I'm actually using the gel medium to protect it and to glue it on. When you're gluing things on mixed media, you want to use the gel medium. If you're going to put more layers on it, it protects it, but if you want to just adhere it to the mixed media, you want to use a wet glue. That way it's nice and strong. I use the Helmer's clear glue, but I also have, normal craft tacky glue, those kind of things. So using some bits and pieces of the kit. So this is a sticker book, so using a washi strip and a gold foil sticker. Seeing what else is in there. There's like so many goodies in this December kit. So many things that are going to be fun to make scrapbooking and Project Life layouts, but also they went so well with this mixed media madness, as I call it on my channel. So hopefully everyone's enjoying the December Christmas crazy month, and we're winding down to Christmas, so that hopefully everyone gets some time off at Christmas and they get to enjoy family company, but also get some time to scrapbook as well. It's always nice to just relax and create and enjoy each other's company, even if you are doing your own things but you're at home relaxing. So here I am using the gel medium just to go over the colour of the background. It will make it more glossy and shinier, but also protects that colour so that it won't blend in if I put any more on top. So there's some adorable puffy stickers, and I actually got myself confused and I thought there was just one packet. So there's 2 awesome different packets. There's some pebbles, beautiful flowers, and there's this Maggie Holmes puffy stickers that were just amazing. There's so many goodies that went together with this kit that Steph obviously, so these are these flowers from Pebbles, that Steph has obviously drawn together from different collections, and it all goes together so nicely that it just complements each other, and it's just like it's meant to be. It just is pretty awesome. So now, paintbrush with the artist ink. Dabbing it in. I do have a cup of water this time, so I'm using the water to blend it through, because you don't want it just like lines, because that's not going to blend in with my background. But I am going to colour in that washi strips with this beautiful watercolours and that beautiful white flower. Oh, there was an XO that wasn't standing out, but it does stand out now, but it does get a few layers as I paint along. So blending it out, adding some water to make it look like it's meant to be there, colouring over some of the modelling paste, because that also makes it blend in rather than the modelling paste is just stuck on top. It actually is in all the layers rather than, the good thing I like to do when I'm doing like mixed media and things like that is to have the background and then have the next layer, the next layer and the next layer, but they blend in subtly by, adding the colour on top of each other or making them go underneath each other and things like that. Even when I bake embellishment clusters, that's the same kind of process that I do. So just using my brush here, splattering, I'm adding some colour, washing it out with water, and I'm just having general fun, just adding colour to wherever I feel like. There's no rhyme or reason really. I did start with watercoloring the washi, but of course I spread it out and then just enjoy the process. So it would be so awesome to have lots of colours of these artist inks, and it would just be like, you can see there's so many techniques that you can use already, and I still haven't done all of them so far in the video. And I'm sure even the ones that I have done in the video, I'm sure there's still more that people can think of, or I'll think of, and things like that, because the what's the word I'm looking for? The ideas are endless. You can do whatever you like with products. As long as you're having fun, you're creating something you're enjoying, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to look like the best thing ever to everyone. It's going to be what you like and what you enjoy. That's the good thing about the scrapbooking community. We all appreciate each other's efforts and adore each other's work, and it's just so supportive. There's very little, if any, people that are, judgmental and trolls and that kind of thing on social media. I actually enjoy sharing and learning from others as well. Just going over that modelling paste up the top, blending that one colour in. As you can see, I needed some of that dark bluey green up the top there to tie in. There was a lot happening on the right there. And here I am with some packaging technique. Just use some of the paper from the plastic from the puffy stickers, actually from the sticker book. Adding some ink to it, adding some water to it to blend it out a little, because sometimes I like the dark, intense colour, and sometimes I want lighter, intense colour. So adding water means that it lightens the colour, it sort of it does dilute the colour, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. So now I was thinking about what I actually want to do with the canvas, because up until now I had no idea, and still I didn't entirely have an idea. At this point I was like, oh, I like that Project Life card, maybe I can add a big photo of my children. So I rip the edges, I use my distress tool, I scrunch it up, I add some colour with the eyedroppers, I then use my paintbrush to add some water to spread out the colour, and I pretty much just distress it and ruin it really with colour, but it makes it actually blend into the background as well, because it's not going to be stark and blank and just, it will just, if I left it the way it was when I first cut it and put it on the page, it would just look like I randomly placed something on there. Whereas doing these couple of steps means that it blends into the background but still stands out in its own way, because it's a different texture, a different shape, and you can see the words on there. But here I'm blending in some of that colour, and of course putting more colour everywhere. But I'm going to do some lovely big drips down the side here. So starting with one of each colour down that left hand side. Sorry, I don't know my lefts and my right at midnight apparently. Adding some drippy drip there. So as you can see, I'm using my paintbrush to actually direct where the colour goes. Adding lots of water. Ooh, look at that one, it went so quickly. And here's the third colour. Bit of ink and then lots of water. Use my paintbrush to make it go the way, wanted it to go down. As long as it went down, I didn't mind which way. So now you can see that Project Life card that I cut up, scrunched up, painted, blends into the background rather than sitting up on top, which might have done if I'd just left it blank, and not blank because it wasn't blank, but left it and not done anything mixed media to it and just plonked it on the page. I used a gel medium to stick that on, putting some underneath as well as on top, just to make sure it's stuck. And I have no idea what I'm doing right at this time, and just wasting your time by watching. No, it's not wasting. So there's a lovely acrylic pieces. I thought these stars, there was some lovely bluey green and some white ones, so these stars get stuck on there. I also then decided to look in the exclusive ephemera packs that we got in the kits, and there's some lovely, look at all that goodness. That's just one that goes with one. There's one that goes with the main kit and one goes with the Project Life kit. So there's so many goodies. So just sticking on those ephemera stars and the love heart and resin stars as well, just using the gel medium. I also, because the watercolors is wet, when I added the gel medium, it does make the gel, the colour activate and move it around, which means that here when I add on these tiny word stickers. It does mix in the colour so that they're not just bland and sticking out. Like I want it to, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but apparently I'm going to tell you again, but I think you already get the message. I want it all to blend into the layers, into the background, so that it looks like it's a cohesive background rather than things plonked on top of each other, and again on top of each other. So by mixing in the colours, by adding colours on top of things every time I add something new, adding more colour, that way it looks like it's just the way it's meant to be, that it's all blended in together rather than you can see which went on top and which one's on the background. So using that mist that I made, no, I'm making some mist. So I added some water to my spray bottle and I'm using some of the ink just straight in there. It did dilute a lot, but that's okay because it makes it just more subtle. So I get really close when I'm spraying, and you might not be able to see it on the video, but at certain parts, like up here, you can see how it gets darker blue. And down here, you should be able to see it as well up on the video. So that just means that one is another technique of how you can use the artist sprays, and two, it blends in that dark blue on top of that background so that it is another layer of colour to add to the background and to the overall feel of it. So this step I'm thinking about what I actually want to finish it off with, and I discover these photos when I'm looking through my spare photo box that my son raids when he's looking to scrapbook, and I pick out all these photos of my two boys which go with the sentiment that you are my sunshine on that Project Life card, and there's that one photo that's got my husband in it as well. So I just use the gel matte medium to stick the photos down. I've used it on the background but also on the back of the photo to stick it like glue, but also on the top to make sure it's blended in and it seals the photos as well, so that if I do get some colour on top of it, because we all know we're probably not finished. It does take me a lot of time to finish with these kind of messy random mixed media goodness. I just love the process and want to create more and more and more. So just using some paper towel with some water on it because I ran out of wipes, as you do when you love mixed media. And I'm just wiping some of that gel medium off to dilute it a bit so that it's not streaky on my photos. Not taking too much off because I still want to protect them. So I am coming towards the end of the video, so there's not too much more that you get to learn from me from just this one product, but I am going to put on some more of that modelling paste through the stencil, and this one is just plain white modelling paste. I didn't mix in any colour because I wanted to have some of that white, but also I wanted to add some more colour to it so that it stood out differently rather than the colour blending into the modelling paste and not being as bright as if when I put the top of it, like making watercolour on top. This, as you can see, I'm going over the photos as well as the background because that means, and under the photo a little bit here, because that means it ties it in to the background. It filters down into the layers rather than the photos are just plunked on top and they are just the last edition, not thought about or anything like that. Because in fact, even though they were, because I had no idea where this was going till right at the end, but that's not what we want everyone to think when we look at it. So using some of that spray mist there, so as you can see, it worked really well up the top there where I added a lot, but it gives a little bit of colour to the other ones, and I'm just going to use my paintbrush and the colours to paint straight on top. And I add some of the colours to the edges of the photos as well and blend it out with the water. That also means, and splatters as well, but that also means that it is blended into the background. My goodness, this is obviously one of those videos, and there's a couple of mine that are a bit like that, where you could play a drinking game, which wouldn't be bad in this type of weather we're having in summer in Australia at the moment. Drink every time I say blend it into the background, into the layers, that I didn't want things to stick out, that kind of thing, because I'm pretty sure I've said it a million times. So now I've just taken off the lid and realised there's a lot of colour, but I'm dipping it in my cup of water to dilute the colour a bit and make it a bit watery so that it can make little circles when I stamp it down on the canvas so that it is pretty much like a stamp. Adding some colour here. I did drop a bit on the right there, but that's okay because it makes it look like I meant to. just, some of them I've gone directly over the kind of the oval shape of the stencil and just coloured in those parts. Others I've coloured the stencil part and the canvas behind it to make it look like it is just the way it is meant to be, because it is. It's always the way it's meant to be when you're doing mixed media. On it goes. So, funnily enough, and doing some more of those circles with the lid, how I started with making just those 3 embellishment clusters using the washi and the stickers, how it ended up in the end. 3 of things is one of those design elements that just works so well. So I was trying to get some more colour in the lid. Whoops. But that's okay. I do need to start winding it down with the spilling, because that's going to make a terrible mess if I continue to do it. But I'm going to water this part out that it actually doesn't look so terrible in that as a, like a big blob that is not meant to be there. When it's watered out, spread around. The good thing about using a paintbrush and water is that you get the colour on your brush and you can move it to another side of the canvas or the layout that you're using. And as you can see, I have dropped it on my table. And I'm just using it as like a paint palette to pick it up and put it on the page. That is a-okay. Oh, look at the drip. I just love watching the drips of colour slide down the page or up the page. It's just so, I don't know, so zen. It's so nice to see. So I think I'm finishing up, but there's one last thing that I do. And it's not really mixed media at all, because I get out my gold Pitt pen, and because the canvas is still wet, I have to hold my hand up, so I'm pulling the canvas up so that I don't rest my arm, but then I can still read it and draw in those words so they stand out, just like the sunshine stands out. So just filling in the "You Are My," so that it reads "You Are My Sunshine," and then I do some doodly borders right around the whole frame, but also around each of the photos, so that they do stand out, which is not something you see on screen because my camera decided that I'd had enough. Oh, and I do some of these little dots with the gold pen, but you'll be able to see here in the close-up, and you can see how the colours, there's 3 colours that I used of those artist ink, and look at how many shades of colour they get from doing all those different techniques. So I hope you get out your artist inks or anything like them and enjoy the process of creating, and share your work with us, because I'm sure we all would love to see the lovely mixed media goodness that you make. Until next time, I'll see you then. Take care. Bye.